Hi guys, I'm Miss Emily from Upstage Dance Center, and this is Claire. She's going to be my model today. We are doing makeup for recreational dancers. So we are going to start with a fresh face. So her face has been freshly washed. She has a little bit of moisturizer on, and we are using the list of makeup that you guys received at Parents Week, and then at you should have received it via email, and then there are also extra copies out in the lobby underneath the TV and the file holder. So if you need an extra copy, feel free to grab one, but just make sure that you are using this and kind of following the order of everything that is listed here. When you are doing this, it's important to make sure that your dancer has on a button-up t-shirt or a button-up shirt, so that when we go to take her shirt off and put her into a costume, we're not gonna pull it off her head and mess up her makeup or her hair. So make sure that you have a button-up shirt on so that we can just easily take it off and then change clothes. So we're gonna start with some powder, and this is just the e.l.f. pressed powder. We're gonna use the applicator that it comes with. So I'm just gonna put this all over her face, and I'm just dabbing this on, and it's gonna create a really smooth surface for us to then use the blush and the eyeshadows, and it's gonna let everything blend together really nicely. So as we put this on, can you look forward for me? I'm putting it all the way underneath her her jawline, and then I'm putting it down her nose, and then on her eyelids. Can you shut your eye for me? I'm putting it right on her eyelids, and then up to her hairline.
That's my forehead.
That's your forehead, exactly. That's where all your hair is. And then I'm gonna switch sides, and we'll do over here on her right. Again, going underneath, and then like I said, this is just going to give us a really nice smooth finish on her skin, so her skin's not going to be tacky from moisturizer or from anything like that. All right, can you look back front for me, and then close your eyes for me again? Thank you. And putting it right on her eyelid, making sure that I'm not leaving any lines by her hairline or by her eyebrows, just making sure that all of that is really nice and smooth. Showing them your neck. All right, now look back front. Okay. And we're not gonna use the brush that actually comes with this. We're gonna use that later. We're gonna use, so the brush that comes with this is this kind of rectangular shaped brush, and it is obviously not the shape of our cheeks. So if we tried to put this on our cheek, it's just gonna kind of leave this streak, and that's not what we want. So it's a good idea to get yourself a separate brush. So this is just a blush brush from Walmart. e.l.f. has some good brushes, but you can just get one that's nice and round and fluffy so that the blush doesn't just kind of go in one spot, but you can blend it all around. You are loving this, huh? All right, look to the front for me. So sit nice and still, and I'm just gonna put this on her cheeks, and then I'm gonna kind of move it around so that it's not just in one place. So I don't want it to just stop in the center of her cheeks. I'm kind of moving it up a little bit toward her ear and making sure that it's nice and blended out. But I should be able to see her cheeks now. So if we don't put blush on, it's not gonna let our cheeks stand out. Everything just looks like all one color. And that's not the way that our faces are naturally contoured or naturally made. So we really wanna make sure that we're putting that blush on so that we can see the shape of her cheeks. And on stage, with all the stage lights, it's always a good idea to put makeup on just so that we can actually see their features. So up on stage from a distance and with all of those lights, it's really hard without makeup on to see people's features. So that's one of the reasons that we wear makeup on stage and why we want our kids to wear makeup. All right, so we've got her blush on now, and you can see it's not a ton. I didn't overdo it. We don't want her to look like a clown, but it is enough that she has a little bit of rosiness to her cheeks now. And we're gonna actually use the applicator that came with this. So the applicator that comes with it has two different sides. So there's a thicker side, it's a little bit wider, and then there's a skinnier side, a little more narrow. So we're gonna use the wider side for the first two colors that we put on, and then we're gonna use the narrow side for the last color. So I'm gonna If you've used your applicator before, we actually want to make sure that you're keeping the colors consistent. So if you've got one color, like this is the lightest color that I've used, and then over here I can tell that this is a darker color. So I'm going to continue to use this side for the light color and continue to use this side for the darker color, because if I start to then just kind of mix it up, they're all going to blend together and look like they're the same color, and we don't want that to happen. So I'm using the lightest side first. All right, guys, sit still for me and straight to the front. I'm putting this all over her eyelid. So I'm going all the way from the bottom where the lashes are, and then all the way up to her brow bone, where her eyebrow is. So I'm just putting this on. And if you have any makeup that kind of falls off the applicator as you're putting it on, we call that fallout. It's not a big deal, just leave it alone. Don't try to brush it away. Just let it be there until you're done with the eyes completely, and then you can brush it away with a powder brush at the end. So I'm gonna do the other side. And I'm gonna do one more time, just to make sure that we've got all that color on. And then we're moving on to the next one. So next I'm using the third color in. So this is a little bit darker. It's the glittery one.
It's the purple.
It's kind of like a purple glitter. So we're gonna use the other side. So this is the side that I used, and I think you can sort of tell this is the
Like
lighter
purple
side,
too.
and then this is the darker side. So I'm
This
using
is
that
like
darker one.
purple too.
That's like purple too, yeah. So I'm using this side, and I'm gonna go from the inner corner of her eye. You lift your chin up just a little bit. So I'm gonna go from the inner corner of her eye out to about 2/3 out, okay? And again, you're gonna eventually run out of color, so just re-dip your applicator every once in a while. Make sure that you're actually doing something. You're not just spreading around an empty applicator. Can't talk sometimes. All right, so once we've got that on, again, I've got a little bit of fallout happening, but I'm not gonna worry about that right now, so I'm gonna leave it until later. And then I'm gonna do the other eye. So turn a little bit back to the front for me, thank you. And I'm gonna do this eye. And if you dip your applicator and then pull it across, there is gonna be a lot more fallout than if you just kind of tap it on. So tapping it on is gonna let it stay a little bit more pigmented. It's not going to kind of blend out and get less intense like it would if you pull it. So tapping it is a better method. And because we're using a sponge tip, you do get quite a bit of product on the actual applicator. So if you just kind of place it down and then just make sure that it's spread out evenly, it should be good. All right, so once we've got that on, then we're gonna use our skinny side of the applicator for that darkest color. So this is the last color in the palette. It's the little brown color over here on the end. And we're gonna use this as kind of a fake eyeliner, and then we're also gonna use it in her crease. So let's go back to the front. So I'm gonna put this all the way down here by her lash line, and that's gonna kind of, she's not old enough to really sit still or to be able to not flinch if we tried to put eyeliner on her. So this is a good option to just make that look a little bit darker, a little bit fuller. And then I'm also gonna put this up through her crease. Okay, and I'm kind of putting it in like a V shape here. So it's going in her crease here at the top and then along her lash line at the bottom. So it's almost making a V. And then I'm kind of filling in the middle of that V with the color as well. And then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. And if it doesn't look super blended right now, that's fine. We're gonna go back in a second, like I said, and get rid of any of that extra color that's fallen out, and get rid of any of those lines that are kind of harsh or blunt. So filling in. All right, and then once we've got that done, I'm gonna go in with a really fluffy, clean brush. So this is just an eyeshadow brush, but there's nothing on here. So it's clean and it's not gonna leave any color on her eyes. But what I'm gonna do with this is just kind of fluff out and kind of do circular motions around the edge of her eyeshadow. So over here, I'm gonna do circular motions so that it is a little more blended and we don't have a clear line from where we have eyeshadow and then not. So can you close your eyes for me again? So I'm just going along the top and then along the edges over here. And then I'm gonna do the same thing over here. So going along the top and then along the side over here. And you can see that that really helps kind of just blend it out a little bit better. Then I'm gonna take this powder brush, and this is what I'm gonna brush the excess fallout from the eyeshadow away from under her eye with. So again, if you use your finger, it's yellow. If you use your finger, it's gonna actually push that pigment down onto your skin, and we don't want that because then you're gonna have extra color on your face where you don't want it. So if we use a brush and just kind of lightly pull it away, it's gonna help that color just kind of brush off and fly out into the room, and it's not gonna leave a mark on her face that we would have to then clean up. Okay. So I'm just brushing that off, and then we're done with that. Okay, if you have a child who is really fidgety or just does not like things around their eyes, then I would say to skip the mascara, but honestly, you wanna have a trial run with your child first. So you wanna try to do their makeup before it's performance time, so that you can see how they're gonna react when you try to put their makeup on. You can see if they're gonna be able to sit still. You can see if you're gonna be able to do mascara or not. So some kids get better as you practice more on them, and then I know that it's easier as the person who's applying the makeup if you get to practice with the child that you're doing it with more as well. So just make sure that you're not just kind of going out the day of their performance and hoping for the best, but that you give yourself an adequate amount of time to prepare. All right, so we're gonna do our mascara next. So I need you to sit up straight to the front, and she's gonna close her eyes like that for me, okay? And I'm actually coming from around the back, and what this is gonna do, it's gonna allow me to see her eyes a little bit better than if I was coming from the front with her. I'm actually gonna move her back. Hold on, Claire. I gotta move you back a little bit. There we go. Okay, so she's a little bit closer to me now, so this is gonna be a little bit easier. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have her just lean back against me. She's gonna keep her eyes closed, and then I'm gonna come over top and just put mascara on the tips of her eyelashes. So I'm not trying to go all the way down to the base of her eye or the root of the lash. I'm just doing it on the ends so that they stand out a little bit more. They're a little bit darker, and we can actually see that she has eyelashes. So if we don't do this, it's just gonna mean that the eyelashes aren't defined. So from the audience, when your child is on stage, we won't be able to see their eyelashes. So like I said, if your child is not able to sit through this and be still, it's not a huge deal, but if they can, we really want them to try. So I'm not gonna put any eyeliner on her. I'm also not gonna put any mascara on her lower eyelashes. So that's just a little too much, and it's a little too easy for them to get scared that you're coming toward their eye, especially if they're looking at you when you're trying to put that on. We're gonna use that later. We're not done yet. All right, then if you do end up getting any mascara on their face or anything like that, so if you're doing it and you end up hitting their eyelid with the mascara, and that's one of the reasons why I don't like to do it in front, is because it kind of eliminates that possibility. But if you happen to pull back toward their eye and hit their eyelid, then you can just take a makeup remover and a Q-tip and just kind of go in on that one little spot and clean that up, versus having to erase all the makeup and all the work that you've already put in. So, all right, now I am gonna do one more thing on her, and this is not in the list, but if you have a fair-headed child, it might be a good idea to just darken their eyebrows a little bit so that we can see that they have eyebrows. Because think about, if we didn't have eyebrows, it's a very clear, blank, wide space of flesh. So putting the eyebrows on and making them just a little bit darker is gonna help frame the eyes a little bit better, and it's gonna help provide some definition. So I'm just going in, this is just a powder product, and I'm just gonna kind of put this on her eyebrow really lightly so that we can tell that she has one. So just very, very lightly, I'm going through her eyebrow and then out to the side. And this, you kind of have to re-dip it occasionally, but a powder product for a child is a lot better than a pencil or a pomade. So moms, if you have pencils or pomades, those are great for adults, but for children, they're a little bit harder to use. So anything powder, and a pencil might be okay too. It's just a little bit harsher of a feeling while you're putting it on. Can you look back front for me? And so that's all I'm gonna do. So I'm just kind of darkening them just a tiny bit. And like I said, if you have a fair-headed child, this is probably gonna be more of an option for you. If your child is darker, normally they're gonna have darker eyelashes or eyebrows, so it's not gonna be as big of a deal. With a small child like this, it's a really good idea when you're doing the lipstick to have them open their mouth, and then you can kind of pull the lipstick in toward the opening of their mouth. That way, if they flinch, it's not gonna go out and get on their cheek, but it's gonna go into their mouth and there's not as much to damage in there. So I'm gonna get down in front of her. And this is the Wet n Wild Catsuit liquid lipstick. This is in Missy and Fierce. And I'm gonna have her look straight front, and then can you open your mouth just a little bit for me? Thank you. So I'm gonna do the inside part of her mouth first. And again, I'm just using small motion. So I'm not pulling all the way across like I would apply makeup on an older child or on an adult, but I'm just kind of doing small motions and pulling it in so that if she flinches or if I make a mistake, it's not gonna get all over her face. And just be very conscious of the fact that you are working on a child and they could move at any time, and then you just have to be prepared for that. All right, I'm gonna do the top, and then I'm gonna go back and finish the sides here in just a second. So I've got the bottom middle done, and I'm gonna do the top lip, and then all right. Okay, try not to make your mouth move, okay? But stay still for me. And if they do move and you end up messing up a little bit, you can usually go back and kind of just smooth out the edge a little bit more. Okay, can you go like this? So I'm just gonna connect that side over here with the bottom. And then I'm gonna do the same thing over here. And the reason that this lipstick is what we chose is because it is a liquid lipstick, which means it's gonna dry down matte, and it's not gonna be as easy to smudge or as easy to rub off as a regular lipstick would. So any cream lipstick is really, really easy for them to kind of wipe or to bite their lips and get to come off. So this is gonna dry down, and once it dries down, it's gonna stay a little bit better. All right, open your mouth for me again. This side over here. And again, if you make a mistake, you can just grab that eye makeup remover. I know it's eye makeup, but it works for any makeup. And you can just kind of take a Q-tip and try to erase that mistake, if you will. All right, and close your lips for me. Don't pinch them together, so don't go like this. Okay, Claire. Okay, don't do that though. All right, you want to really make sure that their lipstick is dry before they do that, because if it's not, then it's going to get all over the place again. So try not to let them pinch their lips. And I'm just going to use a setting spray. So again, this is optional, but it's a really good idea if you have a child who likes to touch their face a lot, or if you have a child who is going to be doing multiple dances and possibly getting sweaty, or even with the lights, if the lights make them hot, then it's a good idea to get a setting spray. And this is just the e.l.f. setting mist. And basically what it does, it just kind of helps protect your face. So it's kind of like a top coat for your nails, or like a varnish for a piece of furniture. So it's just gonna protect it and let the stuff that's underneath not get as disrupted as easily. So I'm gonna take this and I'm just gonna hold it, I'm about a foot away from her face, and I'm just gonna kind of go in this motion. So I'm gonna go in an X motion, and then I'm gonna go up and down, and then I'm gonna go side to side, okay? And I know that seems like a lot, but we really have to make sure that we're covering all of the angles and the contours of her face when we put this on. So close your eyes for me, okay? And try not to flinch, try not to move around. So I'm, again, holding it about a foot away, and I'm just gonna kind of spray it as we go through, and then I'm gonna go diagonal, diagonal, and that should be good. And then we want to let that dry, so you can fan it off, or you can just kind of wait and let them open their eyes. It's not going to hurt their eyes if they open it. It's just, we don't want to intentionally spray mist in their eyes if we don't have to. So it's a better idea to have their eyes stay closed, and then hopefully they don't open it on you and surprise you. So that is it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below, and we'll try to get back with you and answer your questions or help you out. You want to get down? You want to say bye? Thanks for watching.